right, good evening, everyone. I think we'll begin our Committee of the Whole meeting today, Monday, February 9th, 2026. Chair Kraft sends her regrets this evening. She was unable to be here tonight, so she has delegated the responsibility of chair to myself. So I am happy to be here to chair tonight. So thank you. So I'll call to order the meeting, and we'll start with 1.1 opening prayer, and I'll hand that over to Trustee Guerin.
Thank you. I'm going to lead us in Our Father. So in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
I'll ask now for any memorials. Usually we do that the opposite way, but certainly if anyone has any memorials, we'd be happy to hear it, memorials or intentions. Trustee Sikora?
Yeah, just the other day, my daughter-in-law's father passed away at a younger age. So if we can keep him in our prayers.
Absolutely. Any other intentions? Okay, thank you very much. And we'll move on to 1.2, our territorial acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather today is the land traditionally cared for by the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. We also acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge, laws, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today. Okay, with that, we'll move to 1.3, the approval of the agenda. I have a few minor adjustments, and so I'll share those with you and then would like to put a motion to approve the agenda as amended. So the first one, very minor, under 13, announcements. Under February 26th, the student trustee election, I believe it is February the 27th. So just to make that note in your clarification. And one of the things that we would like to do so that our public and superintendents we can finish the meeting is under 8.3, Foundations of Contemplative Prayer. We have a guest speaker this evening that will be doing hosting professional development for us after the meeting. So what we'd like to do is to strike 8.3 from the public agenda. So after 8.2, we would go right to 13, 14, confirming decisions, adjourning, and saying our prayer. And then that will end our public session. From there, we would invite, as we do typically, our public superintendents to have a good night. And we would move into our professional development outside the formal agenda. So if trustees have any questions on that, I thought we would like to do that. It will also ensure that our IT folks don't need to stay until the very end as well. Any concerns with that? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So with those amendments, I would like to put a motion forward to approve the agenda for this evening with the stated amendments. Can I move? Trustee Guerin, second. Trustee Francis, any discussion? And do we have consensus? Great, thank you very much. Moving on to 1.4, declaration of pecuniary interest, either 141 from the current meeting or 142 from a previous public or in-camera meeting. Is there any declarations? Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you. Moving on to 1.5, we have no items for action this evening, so we'll move straight to section 3, the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have 3.1, 3.11, Committee of the Whole minutes for January 12th, 2026 to approve. Can I have somebody move to approve those minutes? Trustee Sikora, and can I have a second? Trustee Doherty Masters, any discussion? And do we have consensus? Great, thank you very much. Moving right along to section 5, advice from the CEO, 5.1, our workforce census, guarding minds at work. And I will pass that on to Superintendent Pomfret for the report.
Thank you very much, through you, Madam Chair. It is my pleasure tonight to share the results of the workforce census. Just give me one moment. I'll get my presentation up here. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. So you have this report in your package, and I know that a few of you have read it as I've been receiving some questions, so thank you very much. So this report is brought to you tonight for information, and the origin of this particular item is under the Anti-Racism Act, the WCDSB Pastoral Plan, and the WCDSB MYSP. The alignment to the MYSP is under belonging, create safe, welcoming environments that reflect our diversity, promote a sense of mattering and dignity, and foster equitable, inclusive, and barrier-free learning and work environments. So the workforce census is a census that's designed to gather demographic information. So it's different from Guarding Minds at Work in that this is truly just to understand the makeup of our workforce. It helps us make evidence-based decisions, and it also allows us to have a greater insight into who actually works in our community. So the first chart you'll see there is the participation by group of employees. I can make it a little bit bigger here. So our international language instructors and OSSTF, we brought them together as it was a very small group, as you can see. Our director, superintendent, senior manager level, 15 participants, APSB, which is our professional group that are like speech and language pathologists, those kinds of individuals. So you can see the participation rates there by each group. And so the workforce census was also implemented or conducted in 2019, 2020, and then in 21, 22 school years. And this current cycle added some additional what we're calling pulse check questions to help us better understand the information, but then to also continue to relate it to some of the data that we're gathering through Guarding Minds at Work. And so this workforce census is called, also called the initial scan, and it measures the balance between stress and rewards. And then it also measures the balance between stress and rewards with the influence of supervisory support. So the items that were put into the initial scan, so these are the pulse check questions. So you can see here, I'm satisfied with the amount of involvement I have in decisions that affect my work. I feel I'm well rewarded in terms of praise and recognition. In the last 6 months, too much time pressure at work has caused me worry, nerves, or stress. In the last 6 months, I have experienced worry, nerves, or stress from mental fatigue. I'm satisfied with the fairness and respect I receive on the job, and then my supervisor supports me in getting my work done. So you can see the first 4 items are really about stress in the workplace, and then all of them combined are the balance between stress and supervisory influence. So the workforce census, or the initial scan, assesses 6 of the 13 psychological, psychosocial factors that are contained in the Guarding Minds at Work survey. And these 6 factors are civility and respect, psychological demands, growth and development, recognition and reward, involvement and influence, and workload management. And then each factor is categorized as either low risk, average risk, elevated risk, or higher risk. Okay, so you've got green, yellow, orange, and then red. And the two measures in this report are the stress satisfaction offset score, which is also called the basic score. And this score tells us how staff perceive the basic conditions of their work in terms of their personal demand, control, effort, and reward. And the score is expressed in a single number ranging between -2 to +2. And then you can see in the legend that the positives are green and yellow, and then the higher risk items are in orange and red. So positive scores point toward a psychologically safer environment where staff experience more satisfaction than stress. And a negative score suggests a greater risk where staff experience more stress than satisfaction. And then we have the stress satisfaction index, which is the enhanced score. And this is where the supervisory factor is taken into consideration. Again, positive meaning, obviously having a positive impact from supervisory impact, and then negative being a less positive impact. And so the question here is that how do the mediators or managers affect the basic scores, and do they increase or lower the basic score? And I'm really pleased to bring this to you tonight because when we look at these scores, so if you look at the first one, sorry, I just want to refer to my notes for a second. So the stress satisfaction offset score. So that's in terms of, again, how staff perceive demand, control, effort, and reward. For the most part, we're either in average risk or elevated risk. But when you look at the numbers, so elevated risk goes from 0 to 0.5. So we have 0.21, 0.11 for CPCO and for CUPE. But then if you look at OECTA, the score is higher, getting more toward the higher risk side of things. But in all of these, when you look at the impact of supervisory support, all of them, all the numbers are either increased or reduced. So increased to the positive or reduced in the negative. So for example, in APSPE, the score goes up toward the positive side. So it increases from 0.32 to 0.68, which gets us closer to the green. CPCO is in the orange or in the elevated risk. It goes into average risk. And again, you can see the trend there through all of this. The international language instructors and OSSTF, such a small group, I'm not sure that we can really look at whether or not that's valid information. But it's good to see that there's, overall, those who did take the time to respond to the survey generally reported positive impacts. So again, really pleased to bring this particular chart forward because it does show that our supervisory impact does have a positive impact on the levels of stress that our staff feel in the workplace. So to support the ongoing monitoring, we're going to restart our cycles. And so we're going to do data collection in a 3-year cycle. So years 1 and 2, we're going to do Guarding Minds at Work. And then year 3, we're going to do workforce census. I think with COVID in there, things kind of got off kilter a little bit. So again, 3-year cycle, Guarding Minds at Work 2 years in a row, and then the workforce census. And we're going to be taking these results to the Collaborative Professionalism Committee for review and discussion. So all of the employee groups are represented at that particular committee meeting. And that's where we have conversation about working conditions and how we can work together to support our staff, their members, and to make sure that, people feel recognized, rewarded, supported in their workplace. And that's the end of my report.
Great, thank you for the report, Superintendent Pomfret. Open it up for any questions from trustees. Trustee Guerin?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Superintendent, for the report. I'm pleased to see the positive impact of our supervisors, or at least mitigating factors. Can you illuminate maybe some of the actions or interventions that supervisors would have taken, particularly for employees under the CUPE and CPCO, that shifted them into the lower risk threshold.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, this particular survey doesn't provide any qualitative information. It literally is just a score. I can say that anecdotally, our supervisors are regularly checking in on staff. We know that, things can be challenging in our work. And so we have supervisors who are encouraged and believe in providing support, emotional, psychological support to our staff.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'll just to add to that, because Superintendent Pomfret is, doesn't want to brag, but she has brought in an excellent program of employee recognition, which is a large undertaking, but it's certainly open to all employees across the system, where they are the ability to be nominated and to be recognized. And Superintendent Pomfret personally goes out to each location and congratulates the winner each month. And there's up to, I think there's the 5 winners per month across the entire system. So we believe that program really shows a level of appreciation, not only from the supervisory perspective, but I think it's more being recognized by your own group as well, to be nominated for such such a just a prestigious kind of opportunity. So there are programs like we have through the Guarding Minds at Work. Of course, there's been so many initiatives that we've undertaken to try and improve the working conditions. We keep, again, very open communications. Our superintendents do an incredible job, as Superintendent Pomfret noted, just to make sure we're checking in, listening to the needs. We know the challenges are there with the working, just working, and especially with CPCO, our principals running those schools and the challenges that they undertake each day. But they know when they pick up the phone and call the superintendent, the rule is no matter what meeting we're in, we pick up the phone, and when the school calls, we answer. There's no question. So I think those small things, plus the recognition programs, just knowing that, the value, I think makes it, those small incremental changes where they feel that, yes, the situation might be struggling. I might really have a challenging class this year, but I know I'm well supported. So those are just a few items.
Thank you. Any further questions from trustees? Trustee Doherty Masters?
That's great. Thank you. I find this interesting, very, very interesting material, and very important work as well. I can't help but self-reflect too on my own experience and the importance of knowing that you have an opportunity and an avenue to give feedback. I did send this question ahead of time, so I asked Superintendent Pomfret, especially with the reference to exploring ways to increasing participation. Just wondering what the participation has been in the past 3 cycles, I guess, including this one. And just wondering, where has it increased? Has it decreased? And anyway, I'll leave it to you to give those numbers.
Through you, Madam Chair, I really appreciated the question because I went back to look at the last 2 cycles. And so in 2019, which was the first time, there was 707 responses. In 2021, there was 1,635. And then this time around, there was 1,087. So it started out low, we sort of peaked, and then we came back down. And I think because 2021, we were all just coming back from COVID, I think there may have just been more energy around actually getting back into our communities and a sense of wanting to reconnect in as many ways as possible. So I'm actually not at all disappointed with the participation rate anymore, because when I look back at what we got in 2019, I thought, oh, well, there's an improvement there. We continue to have this conversation with the employee groups. We offer time on PA days. We ask principals to offer time in staff meetings so that people have the opportunity to complete these types of things. Unfortunately, we can't make it mandatory or anything like that. But what we can do is continue to work. And this collaborative professionalism group is really, I think, key to us really helping our employee group partners understand how important it is for their participation. And even though, yeah, I think if you don't have a say, then you don't have a say. You don't have an opportunity to influence what the future is going to look like. So again, excited to bring these responses or this report back to that group because it's really positive, and I think it's something for us to be proud of. So thank you. Thanks for the question.
Follow up?
Yes, go ahead, Trustee Doherty Masters.
Thank you. Just kind of based on what Trustee Guerin asked, when you take it back to your group, I know it's hard to predict what outcomes there might be, but I'm just wondering if you might have a sense of kind of what that group might be looking for as next steps. Again, in order to increase participation, what you've kind of outlined too, but even some of the steps to, move some of these scores into more yellow and green areas.
I think that by continuing to demonstrate, so when we go to that group, I think by continuing to sort of toot our own horn in a way, we haven't necessarily done that, but to really advertise what we have heard and then how we have responded. Because I think that obviously shows our commitment to making a better working environment for all. So we started having those kinds of conversations this year. I think the other piece is that we do need to have more buy-in from our employee groups to have them encourage staff to complete this. We know that there are groups of individuals who are highly engaged. We have groups of individuals who are completely disengaged. And then we have a larger group, the majority group in between. I have a feeling we're kind of getting some of the outlier responses. We're not necessarily getting to the core group. So I think we can do a better job of advertising. I think we can do a better job of getting our partners to truly work with us in a partnership perspective. Thank you.
Just to add one point to that too, because I had noticed that as well, that we didn't have necessarily the buy-in, and what we did reiterate at that collaborative professionalism meeting that we had just prior to Christmas, and we will have another one coming up soon, is that if we don't know, that's very hard to implement initiatives to help support our workers, wherever area they're working in the organization. And it's bringing that information forward. So this actually completing the survey is going to be supportive and helpful, as opposed to not, because, oh, well, will anything change? Yes, like we will make a concerted effort to put, to put initiatives and programs in place that will help be supportive, or whatever the areas of need are, once we know where those are. So you're right, this is a snapshot. It'd be really nice to get a little bit deeper, and I think encouraging them to say, look, this is what we're willing to do when we see, like, having the results of the survey is going to be just really helpful for us to continue that work. Yeah.
Thank you for both of you for that information. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions from trustees? Okay, seeing none, I have one of my own, Superintendent Pomfret. It's more of a comment and then a question. I'm encouraged by the results, certainly, and enjoy seeing and hearing about the great work that's being done to continue to reinforce not only the number of participants, but also the results. I kind of consider this year as a bit of a new baseline, because I think 21, 22 was probably a bit post-COVID, and those, we probably don't understand necessarily the impacts on those results. So I think it's a great baseline to move forward with. In saying that, because the workforce census is only once every 3 years, and we have stepped up to do the Guarding Minds at Work for the 2 years in between, which I think is wonderful. Is there any way to connect those two sort of surveys, if you will, so that we can see that we're continuing to move forward with this, even though it's not to 3 years? Does that make sense? It's a long time to wait.
And thank you, Madam Chair. So I took the opportunity before this meeting to actually just go back and look at last year's Guarding Minds at Work survey results. And when I looked specifically at those 6 factors that are measured in the workforce census, I noted that 3 of the 6 were in orange and 3 were in yellow. So 3 with a higher risk factor and 3 with a what do we call it? A minimal concern is what we call it in Guarding Minds at Work. So I think it's reflective of the results that we actually saw. And I think the work is nuanced in the workforce census by looking at the influence of the supervisor. So whereas we kind of get a general sense in Guarding Minds, I actually like the results of the workforce census because we actually get to understand a little bit deeper about what are the factors that are influencing, again, a shift, even though it's small, a shift in the responses. So I hear what you're saying, and I'll do my best to try and draw more inferences or draw more correlation between them so that we can continue to stitch it. But yeah, I did take the opportunity to go back and take a look. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Any last call for questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much for the report, Superintendent Pomfrey. Us only having one report on the agenda tonight, we're going to move forward with our evening with linkages and pastoral. So I think we can say good night to our superintendents. I held you on your toes just in case you thought you were staying all the way to the end, but no go. No, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your evening. All right, welcome back. So at this point, we'll move to 6.1 and get a report from our Chair of Linkages, Trustee Guerin.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you, Chair. A quick update that we are working on details of a community service event that we're going to invite all trustees, potentially superintendents, and anyone else interested to participate. We're looking at ideally an event at a food bank or shelter in the Cambridge area, since it's a little bit neglected from an activities point of view, but ideally on a Monday evening so that it would, if that didn't interfere with other meetings, so that people would have the best chance of attending. And we're also planning round 2 of inviting some of our local clergy to come and join us and lead us in prayer. We've got a few strategies to try to encourage more attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Guerin, and over to Trustee Sikora for linkages.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we just sort of went over a lot of the stuff that is coming up. We have the community leaders breakfast coming up. I think originally we said it was going to be May 7th, but it had to be postponed. One of the other mayors had planned theirs the same day, so we moved it. Also that same week, that was during Catholic Education Week, and there will be folk dance festival occurring in the 3 different cities, May 5th, 6th, and 7th. Other items coming up, there's a pancake breakfast at the CEC on Shrove Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, various different parishes. Well, all the parishes will be having an Ash Wednesday Mass. There's also one at St. Mary's here. I try to attend one, or I know my minister does go to several of the schools, and I've been able to attend there. The staff recognition event will be happening on April 23rd. There's the mayor's breakfast, which we've had an announcement out for. We have student trustee elections coming up to hopefully to get 2 more wonderful student trustees. And that's it. I'm going to send this all out in an email just to confirm everything. Okay.
Great, thank you. So moving on now to 8.1 OCSTA, CCSTA communications. Couple of things to highlight. In the OCSTA folder that Stephanie sent out, there was the pre-budget presentation to the Ministry of Finance by OCSTA, and it's a really good summary of some of the challenges and opportunities on the education side of finance. So if you get a chance to read it, it also covers quite a few of our resolutions. So that was really nice to see. There is also a number of memos from through OCA from Pope Leo. There is the Catholic Trustees Seminar, our PowerPoint and the audio presentations from the conference. There was some really good stuff there, so check them out if you're interested. And finally, there was the Catholic Identity Series poster sets, which have been updated, and that's a really cool poster set if you're interested in seeing some images, and these have been sort of built over time through OCSTA. So just a few highlights in the communications. All right, we'll move now to 8.2, the trustee work plan for February. Would you like to bring that up? So February, under strategic direction, just to highlight the proposed school year calendar, we'll be approving that school year calendar on February the 23rd at the board meeting. Who was our school calendar rep this year? Ah, okay. So we wait with excitement on what the days will be next year. Also, kindergarten registration has launched, and the SEAC meeting was last week on February the 4th. In terms of system monitoring, as usual, we'll have the CPIC committee minutes, the SEAC minutes, and of course, our student senate elections. Reports to board in February, there's a lot. So you can see we've got some procedures. We have our audit report on trustee expenses that has already been approved by the audit committee. We have our Guarding Minds update, which we had tonight. We'll have another budget prep overview. We'll have the audit of directors' expenses. In addition to our regular student and chair and directors report, we have 3 board policies of our own to report on, and there are 3 monitoring reports: treatment of public, students, and emergency CEO replacement. So a busy February 23rd. Dates to remember. February 16th, this upcoming Monday, Family Day. I think the other items, linkages mentioned, except for February 19 to 22, when our student trustees will be off to Osta-Aco to have some fun with other student trustees. And February 25th is Pink Shirt Day. So because we're meeting on the 23rd, if people would like to wear a pink shirt, it would be appropriate on February 23rd. So a busy month yet to come. Under the engagement, we've talked about most of these. The announcement just went out today for the awards. It would be the Chairs Award, the Community Partner Award, the Distinguished Graduate Award, and the Pope Francis Award for Ecological Leadership. So that just went out to ask our community for nominations. So if you know of anybody that you'd like to forward it to or connect with, obviously recognizing Black History Month in February as well. And we have our feast days listed there: St. Bridget, Our Lady of Grace, St. Josephine Bakhita, and Our Lady of Lourdes. Any questions on February's work plan? All right, seeing no questions, we'll move on to section 13.1. I think we have mentioned all of these except for March the 2nd, which is our next governance committee meeting. And of course, although we have a governance committee, all trustees are welcome if they would like to come into the meeting and observe and participate. Moving on to section 14, I've mentioned all these already, but we will try to keep the meeting as per usual to end before 9 o'clock, but there is a lot of approvals on that particular night. Moving to 15, confirmed decisions tonight.
It was moved by trustee Guerin and seconded by trustee Francis that the agenda for Monday, February 9th, 2026 be now approved as amended, carried by consensus. It was moved by trustee Sikora and seconded by trustee Doherty Masters that the consent agenda, Board of Trustees, and the recommendations contained therein be now approved, carried by consensus.
Thank you very much. And we'll move now to 16.1, our closing prayer. O risen Lord, you have entrusted us with the responsibility to help form a new Yep. So trustee Sikora for our motion to adjourn and seconded by trustee Stanley. Any discussion? And do we have consensus? Great, thank you very much. And Marissa, we will send the link to you for our PD session. And that ends our meeting for this evening. Thanks very much.
Thank you.